Hey, you guys, it is Amanda Sobey, another whirlwind event that I am hosting for you to teach you everything that I do to help you with your lymphedema and or lipedema. Now, today's event, you're going to have a whole bunch of time with me and me alone. We are talking about White Lion resistance bands. And again, they are a company that I use and I love. They are local to me, which is awesome. They're Canadian made. And I don't know if that makes a difference for anybody out there. But again, the reason why I enjoy talking about products that I love is because I try them out, I use them very rigorously, and I know that they can go the distance. But more so importantly, the importance behind exercise and lymphedema, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an educational tutorial as to why movement is so important. Sorry, why movement is so important for those people who have lymphatic issues. But more than anything, anybody with lymphatics, and again, anybody at home who doesn't have a lymphatic issue, you do still have a lymphatic system. Here we go. The lymphatic system is the plumbing system for your body. Now, unlike the circulatory system that has a heart that pumps your blood, nothing pumps your lymph system like your muscles. Your muscles are the only thing that move lymph based on internal stimulation. What this means is that people that you see that are walking the street out there that have obesity issues, or that, you know, maybe have a couple extra pounds on them. Yes, we have learned that it's fat or that they're obese, but ultimately, if you stimulate the muscle, you push that muscle into the lymph system, which pushes all the debris out of your body. So as you guys know, I am a certified personal trainer and I spend hours upon hours a day helping people find their muscles. Now, that being said, training your muscles is not just as easy as going to the gym. I find a lot of people, they want to get fit and they want to get healthy. So they get on the treadmill or they start picking up weights and you just see them giving her and they're just doing all this effort and they're not getting anywhere. Conversely, a lot of people with lymphatic illnesses, they'll work out all the time, but then directly what happens is that they're going to swell immediately after that exercise. So how do we avoid that? I'm hoping that today, giving you some demonstrations and teaching you what I do will inspire you to start moving a little bit more. And if you happen to have any questions, please do chime in. Again, I am your only host for today's webinar, so I do and would love some camaraderie and some chit chatter back and forth. Again, getting to know what you guys want. And again, asking me the questions that you want to know about. Again, this is the time for you that I create so that you guys can learn. Okay. So like I said, first and foremost, we want to learn how to stimulate our muscles because the muscles push the lymph. And it is not just as easy as going over to the gym and starting to exercise. Well, you can tell it's a live show. All right, you get what you pay for. What can I say? Okay, so what I'm going to teach you to do is, again, how to find your muscles. So I'm going to teach you some very basic exercises with these types of resistance bands. If you don't have resistance bands or if you need to replace them, you can go to my website at amandasobey.com and I have a link for White Lion bands, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. We have mini bands, we've got large bands, and I'm going to teach you how to use both. Okay, so first and foremost, let's just do some simple exercises for the chest, and I'm going to teach you how this works. The nice thing about these resistance bands is that they all have, that's backwards, but they all have a weight affiliated to or associated to the amount of heaviness that is required or going to be for the resistance. So this is a 10 to 30 pound resistance band. Again, not all resistance bands have weights associated to them. They'll have like a light or a medium or a heavy, but these ones actually come with a weighted setting, which is nice so that you kind of can gauge how much strength you have. If and when you're working with the large resistance band, you'll see that there's an opening. I like to twist it once or twice on itself so that when I'm using them, they don't smack me in the back of my head. When you see a lot of people working out at the gym, they start to mimic other people, which I think is a good way to learn, but it's not necessarily the most effective thing that you can do. So when we're going to do a chest press exercise, I really want to activate my pectoral muscles. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is roll my shoulders back and down. A lot of people start to press with their shoulders, or they press with their arms or their hands when performing this exercise, which again, it's a chest press exercise. So we want to learn how to squeeze the muscle underneath the tissue, because as I've just told you, the muscle is what is responsible for pushing the lymph. So once you target the muscle, you're going to start to see that lymph moving around. So here we go. Shoulders are rolled back and down. Core is nice and tight. I'm going to start with my hands in an active front plank position, and I'm going to pause and I'm going to hold here. When doing this, I'm waiting for my chest to warm up. I'm waiting for my muscles and for my blood flow to get into my muscles first before I begin the exercise. Once my muscles get nice and hot, as I like to call it, I'm going to keep squeezing forward. I'm going to pretend like my muscles are going across the other side of the room. So keeping my pectorals nice and firm and nice and lifted, I'm going to keep squeezing them forward as I drag my elbows back. I'm going to stop at kind of a comfortable stopping position. I'm not going to go too deep because I don't want to lose contraction over my chest, okay? So keeping my chest still engaged, I'm using my chest to drive and push my hands forward, okay? Again, shoulders are rolled back and down. My chest is nice and pressed, keeping it nice and hot. And now I'm going to keep driving my pectorals forward as I pull my elbows backwards. You can start to see that my chest is getting nice and pink because I'm driving all that blood into those muscles. And the more that I learn how to keep my muscles contracted, and the more that I keep pressing into my pectorals, I can guarantee you that it's going to be stimulating my lymphatic system, pushing my lymph around. Okay, so and again, this is a simple basic chest press. Using a band like this, I can easily go from a chest press to a chest fly. And again, squeezing into the chest nice in front. And again, you can see my muscles underneath my skin. And again, squeezing against this opening, pausing, let that pressure rebuild, and then using that pressure to squeeze through, okay? So often or not, a lot of people ask me, how many times should I do this, okay? Once you get familiar with your muscles, you should start doing like 3 sets of 10, for example. But if you're brand new to exercise and you have no idea what your muscles feel like, the best thing that I can teach you is to obviously hire a professional to help you find these muscles and learn what it's supposed to feel like. Not all muscles work the same in every body, okay? So it's really important to find a trainer who's patient with you. It's really important to find a trainer that is familiar with lymphedema, as well as making sure that they take the time to teach you proper technique. Please don't go in the gym and just start doing this exercise thinking that you're gonna push the lymph, right? Because the ultimate goal is to get these muscles lifting to the surface of the skin so that the muscle compresses the lymph, forcing it up a different pathway. Does that make sense, you guys? You guys are so quiet. Where's my conversations out here? Let's see. Okay, so I've taught you 2 exercises so far. One was the chest press with the resistance band. And then the other one was a chest fly with the resistance band. All right. Okay, good. I see some life on the other side. Good job, you guys. Another favorite muscle group of mine to learn, and again, the body has over 600 muscles in it. So it takes an exceptionally long period of time to learn how to activate every single muscle. A favorite muscle group of mine is the back. So I'm going to teach you how to use your back muscles. When you come training with me, I not only train you how to find certain muscles, but you start to learn that it takes a bunch of muscles together working to find that one muscle. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so I'm using my large resistance band again, because I'm going to teach you how to find your back muscles. And when we find our back, we're going down a bit lower underneath the shoulder blades for the latimus dorsi. Again, this muscle is very large in the back. You do want to start learning how to use this so that when you're lifting and carrying objects, instead of carrying everything forward facing like this way and putting pressure in your lower lumbar, we're going to teach you how to use these back muscles through the back so that you can carry the weight be safe, and obviously just get a very good exercise in doing so. So when we are training back, you have to keep in mind that everything from behind you should be activated. So what's going to happen, even though that the resistance is going to be in front of us, you want to start to learn how to sit in behind you. So what that is going to look like is I'm going to twist my band so that it doesn't snap on me. I'm going to sit in my heels, okay? I'm going to sit in my glutes. I'm going to sit in my booty. Your glute muscle or your butt muscle is the largest muscle in your body. So when we do train on certain exercises, you should learn how to sit backwards so that you can counteract the forward facing motion, right? So we sit backwards so we don't fall forwards, okay? We weeble and we wobble, but we don't fall down, okay? So what's gonna happen, the shoulders get rolled back and down. I'm sitting in those heels. I'm squeezing my butt muscles. And now it looks like I'm pulling with my arms, but in all actuality, I'm squeezing with my back. I get stopped at a certain point, and now here I resist this lowering contraction. It looks like I'm pulling with my arms, but I'm actually squeezing with the latissimus dorsi, and I'm squeezing and I'm resisting and I'm pressing down. Again, if you have truncal edema or any edema in the torso, we want to start to figure out where these muscles live so that we can squeeze and push that lymph out. If you don't have edema in these places, maybe you have lipedema, or maybe you're just a regular human being that wants to get a little bit stronger. Squeezing into these muscles, making sure that you're targeting them, and then also resisting them. I find when I'm training people a lot, the biggest thing that I say all the time is that you're responsible for contracting your muscles. Don't just go and try to lift stuff and think that you're going to build muscle. There is such a thing called a mind-muscle connection. You want to use this mind-muscle connection to squeeze into the contraction and to push into the contraction. Once you guys know how valuable your muscles are, you're going to be so much more effective at pushing that fluid through your body, whether that be fat, whether that be edema, whatever type of body type that you have. Once you target the muscle underneath the skin, you will start to see a change in your body and start to alleviate that inflammation. All right, I get a little passionate, you guys. I'm so sorry. So again, that was the back. I'm going to ditch this large resistance band for now, and I'm going to move into the small resistance band. And again, they come in all different strengths. This one is the leopard at 9 to 11 pounds. This one is the cougar, 12 to 15. White Lion Athletics, they do sell them individually and they sell them in packages. And again, I really think that if you're going to invest in any type of equipment, these are great because you can take with them when you travel. If you don't want to invest in a home gym, like how I've invested into a home gym, because obviously it's probably not your career, these are great because they're portable, they're compact, and you can store them anywhere. And you can train any muscle group with these products. So let me show you a few more before you guys ask me some questions, and then I'll say goodnight for later. All right, ladies and men, a lot of people want to know, how do you get the back of the arm? Okay, people want to know, how do you hit this tricep? The older you get the flappy, the bat wing, as we call it. So what do? So I like to just hold this resistance band nice and close to my body, and I'm going to pull into that tricep. Well, you see it right there. And again, squeezing to resist this exercise. So again, whether you have a whole bunch of equipment at home or whether you don't, knowing how to use the equipment is what's going to make a really big difference in your results. I also think if you have somebody who's willing to teach you of what to do, it also speeds up the process of the health journey. Okay, so now I'm just working the tricep, which is the back of the arm. Again, I'm just holding my resistance band nice and close to my belly. For my arm lymphies out there, or if you don't have arm lymphedema, no worries. Everybody wants to work on that tricep. Everyone wants to work on the back of the arm. And again, a quick little press through, pinch that tricep, get it nice and tight, and then squeeze into this contraction. Often I see people working triceps and they're just swinging their arm. Okay, get out of the swing. Start to visualize the muscle. Start to understand that you want the back of the arm to pull into this contraction, and then pinch that muscle and squeeze to keep it lifted. Do you see how my little tricep there is still staying activated, even though I'm pushing him back to center? And yes, my tricep is male. Don't ask me why, okay? I obviously fall in love with every single muscle group that I do. And again, learning how to find each one is a super huge passion of mine. All right, so that's the tricep for you. I'm going to teach you how to do the bicep. Ken Shaw has asked a question, so let's see what Ken Shaw has to say. Is it better to do lighter gauge and more reps, or heavier gauge and less reps? Ultimately, it depends on what type of training that you're looking for. If you want to build muscle, you should use a heavier gauge weight and lower reps. If you want to be more aerobic and do hypertrophy exercises, quick, fast burning, fast twitching muscles, then it's a lighter gauge, faster reps. Does that make sense? And again, I think you should diversify in your training methods. I think that it's good to do lighter gauge, fast reps. And I also think it's good to do heavier gauge, less reps. Again, you want to, the whole thing is, you guys, is that to strengthen the muscle, you want to tear it. You want it to build in amino acids. Amino acids come from proteins. Proteins provide strength. So again, making sure that you are stimulating the muscle in the best way to build it in strength so that it can continue to push out that edema or push out that fat, whatever is lying underneath your skin. You really want to get the muscles as strong as possible to push from the inside out. Ooh, do I have any thought about Pilates for truncal edema? I think Pilates and I think bar is amazing. I think it also comes down to the teacher. Again, when you're doing abdominal work, I'll show you a couple ab exercises if you want to hang out here with me a little bit longer. But again, it's not about, how do I word this? I want to encourage you to do any exercise that makes you happy. I think a lot of people in the support groups were always looking for the best thing for it, like lymphedema, or the best thing for weight loss. Here's my thing. If you enjoy to do it, that's your thing. Because if you hate rowing, for example, if you absolutely hate rowing, and supposedly like all the world studies say that rowing is the best exercise ever, if you hate it, you're going to still hate it if you have to do it every single day. If you enjoy an exercise and you can stay consistent with it and you consistently do that, that is the exercise for you. And I really recommend that you continue doing the things that make you happy. As a trainer, people think that I'm going to come into your life and I'm going to prescribe a whole bunch of exercises that you hate. That is not where I come from. A good trainer will work with you. A good trainer will listen to you, and a good trainer will prescribe you exercises that you actually enjoy to do, because the trick of exercising is to just do it, right? So if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it, and then you're never going to get the results anyways. But again, Pilates is amazing, but I do think that you should be trying to find teachers or instructors that have lymphedema or know about lymphedema, because when you're in my world and you work out with me, the whole goal is, no matter what exercise that I give you, my goal is to stimulate your muscle, because your muscle pushes your lymph. Okay, so but good question, Linda. I liked it. And yes, Pilates is great. So keep up at it if you enjoy it. If you don't love it, then try something else. Bicep curls. So here's the thing. Everyone wants nice tight arms. You can do what we did with the triceps, but we're going to go in reverse. I'm going to just pull this resistance band way down, and I'm going to pull and squeeze into this bicep, and then resisting the lowering. Okay, squeeze in and push down. Now, what I find I see all the time with people is that they're pulling from the hands. Okay, when the first time I train a client, I'll give them weights or I'll give them something to hold on to, and they think, oh, look, I'm going to use my hand. Okay, I don't want your hands to do these exercises. I want these muscles to be utilized. So because, again, I'm going to repeat myself, muscles are the only thing that move the lymph. So if you push into the bicep, for my arm lymphies out there, you want to squeeze into the shoulder, get that contraction nice and tight, and as well as resist the lowering. Your muscles need to work both ways. Very often you'll see people who are in the gym, they'll put all the effort to squeeze in and then they give up, and then they'll squeeze in and then they'll give up. You are missing out on 50% of the exercise. So when you are training, don't forget about the negative contraction. And that's all going to help improve that strength of the bicep. It's going to help improve pushing that lymph system, and it's going to sculpt and shape your arms. Okay. And I don't care if you have lymphedema, if you're hypertension, diabetic, cardiovascular issues, whatever, if you can squeeze the muscle, again, that's going to ultimately push the debris out of your body, and it's going to sculpt and shape you the way how we feel that you can. Okay, so there's an arm exercise. There's your biceps. So again, we did some chest flies. We did some chest presses. We did some back exercises. Oh, here, let me do a bum exercise. We like our bums. All right, let's get something a little bit stronger. Okay, again. Yeah, legs. I'm on it. So we'll do bums and we'll do legs. So let me just drop this down a little bit. Okay, so here we go. So I've got my mini band around my legs. Again, the glutes are the biggest muscle in your body, and I find that they're severely underutilized. People don't use their glutes at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the band slightly above my knees. Don't ever put your band on your knees. Don't put anything on your joints. And what we're going to do side steps across the room. Now, if you don't have a full room to walk side to side, you can just go right side to left side. Now, people look at this and they think, oh, geez, how easy. Okay. That's not, it shouldn't be easy, first and foremost. Secondly, just like how I gave you my tip about lifting with the hands, I don't want to use my hands to lift, just like I don't want to use my feet to move. Okay, I want to push from my glutes and from my abductors. I want to squeeze and push from the muscle, because as I've told you, the muscle moves the lymph, but also the muscle is what I want to get perky. The muscle is what I want to see a change in. So I'm going to take a squat sitting down in this position from my abductor, from the outside butt cheek. I'm going to balance, of course, keeping the core nice and tight, squeezing my bum out, and then resisting as I come in. Okay, sorry, this is all slow speed, so it looks a little weird. Squeezing out and then squeezing in. Side step this way. Again, you'll notice I'm not letting the band slingshot my other leg in. For the effort that I use to squeeze out, I'm equally applying that pressure to squeeze in. Squeeze and push. Push from the booty, squeeze from the booty. Push from the booty, squeeze from the booty. And again, it doesn't take very long for your abductors and your glutes to catch on fire. All right. Squeeze and push. Squeeze and push. Okay, another exercise. Those are side steps with a mini band. Let's move on to sumo squats. These are a favorite squat of mine because I find the older that we get, people really hate squats because of hip issues or knee issues. But this type of a squat is a lot easier for people because we're allowing for the hips to bend. And technically, when you squat, you shouldn't be using the knees. Let me show you what I mean. So, sumo squats. I'm going to start with my feet slightly shoulder width apart. I'm going to turn from the hip about 45 degrees. When I turn from the hip, it turns my feet. Really important to turn from the hips because this is where the mobility comes from. Okay, as we're in this position, my heels are dug into the ground. Shoulders are rolled back and down. Core is nice and tight. Glutes are nice and tight as well. I'm already contracting my muscles before I get started, okay? Keep that squeeze in your booty, and you're gonna pretend like you're pooping over a cliff, Yes, that's my technical term. It's how I train all the time. Shoulders roll back and down, core is nice and tight, glutes are tight, turned out at 45 degrees, and I'm going to push that booty nice and sit back. Now to stand, I'm using my keister to drive up the body, squeeze and hold. Again, shoulders are rolled back and down, core is nice and tight, glutes are nice and tight. Keeping my glutes tight, I'm going to squeeze to sit back. Hold that, keep squeezing, and then squeeze to push forward. Keeping it contracted. Again, squeezing to push down, and then squeezing to push up. When we're doing legs, what I want to teach my clients the most of is how to build under negative pressure. So what happens is that we stand a lot during the day. So gravity is going to pull the fluid down towards our feet. My job to teach you is how do you push from the floor to push all the swelling up back into the watershed area that's going to be able to uptake that edema. So again, when you're doing lower body workouts, you really want to visualize all of your pressure starting from the floor and bubbling up the body. So again, let's do that a couple more times to make sure I make sense. Shoulders roll back and down, core is nice and tight, glutes are tight, turned out at 45 degrees. I'm keeping my muscles contracted because the more that I squeeze them, I'm pushing into the lymph. And then of course, to stand up from the source of the muscle that we're really trying to activate. Okay, everything that I do when you first start training with me, it's very slow. It's very controlled. And you're always focusing on that muscle group that we're really trying to activate. You will never see me going into any gym, throwing my weights around, or just not controlling my weight. This is a huge tip, hopefully I'm passing on to you guys so that you learn. You've heard me say, keep your core tight, probably throughout almost every exercise that I've demonstrated for you today. What this looks like is that you have a muscle that runs horizontally across your body. This is called the transverse abdominal. Now, as I've told you, there is such a thing called a mind-muscle connection. When you're training, hopefully I've taught you some things, but when you're in my gym, you are responsible for holding your own muscles. So when I ask my clients to keep their core tight, what that means is that this muscle, you're going to drag into your spine. So here's my tummy. I'm not contracting, okay? I'm going to squeeze in and press this to your spine. So again, you're going to squeeze in and bear down into these muscles that will push into your pelvic floor. And again, I squeeze and I release, and I squeeze and release. This type of truncal contraction will help anybody, especially those with truncal edema. So again, squeezing the muscles and relaxing, squeezing and flexing and relaxing. Please don't confuse belly breathing, like as much as deep breathing is beneficial for the lymphatics, I need to hit the muscle because I understand that the muscle presses into the skin, which moves the lymph. Okay, so if anybody is wanting any of these products from White Lion, you can please go to my website at amandasobey.com. They have kettlebells, they have resistance bands, they've got foam rollers, they've got a whole bunch of tools that you can use that I use and love. And again, they are a great product. They don't snap. They're not that cheapy plastic that you get from, the dollar store if you get your bands from there. And again, I hope that I've shown you guys some tips and tricks so that you can apply in your home gym. They're very inexpensive. You can pack them anywhere. I think I'm running out of options to tell you what is so fantastic about them, but I just appreciate you guys joining me today. Thank you for being in my gym.